Hi, Dan from MHCP, back with another video. Today I wanted to do one on kind of an informative instructional guide to the MRE, maybe for those of you who weren't in the military, have maybe heard of an MRE, don't really know what one is, but or maybe you know a little bit and you've thought about buying some for camping or survival kit in your house. They're good for some different things. So first off, what is an MRE? Well, it's a meal ready to eat. It was developed by the U.S. military in the 70s, first issued in the early 80s, and it's shelf stable for 3 to 5 years is the minimum standard, 3 years at 80 degrees. Now, they contain a minimum of 1,200 calories per meal, and everything in them is ready to go. There's very little preparation needed for these, so that being said, they're great for camping. If you've been hiking all day and you're hungry, you just want to sit down and eat, these are great for that, especially if you're not in a cold weather environment. Like the Mountain House meals are great, but they're freeze-dried, so they take a little extra time to prep, and you need extra water for those. But those are good in a cold weather environment because these will freeze. So anything above 32 degrees, these are great. They're great to keep in the house. You know, FEMA says to keep a minimum of 3 days of food and water in your house in the event of some sort of natural or man-made disaster, as it takes time for emergency services to get organized and get out to people. So a case of 12 of these, that could last a family of 4, 3 days. And they're pretty affordable. If you buy them by the case, they're anywhere from $50 to $70 a case. And so that's not too bad. Buying them individually, they can be a little pricey, $8, $9 a piece. So we have a couple of different ones here. This one is a general military issue one made by Tabasco Inc. in Mullins, South Carolina. They're one of the couple manufacturers. This one here is also made by Tabasco. This is one they market to the civilian market, and this is their reduced sodium ration. So they don't have quite as much in them. They're a little thinner, and they come 14 to a case because of that. They'd only have usually one entree and not as many snacks, and they don't have the accessory pack with the extra beverages typically. So they're usually a little more affordable. They're good for an emergency ration. That's what they're marketed for. Same shelf life on them, and it said 3 to 5 years is the minimum. These rations stored well can last well beyond that. If you watch some of the other MREInfo guys, they've had ones that were stored really well that are 15, 20 years old and still completely edible. They can be frozen, and that extends the shelf life. But if you keep them in a cool, dry place, they'll last well beyond that 5-year mark. And then behind this is an early generation MRE brown bag. This is pre-1996, so if you ever come across any of these, pretty much a collector's item. Like I said, if they have been stored well, they could still be edible. I've seen ones like these eaten as back as from the early 80s and still good, but that's kind of a roll of the dice. So if you see a brown bag one, pick it up as a collector's item, but don't count on it as a actual food item. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the contents. I'm going to look at the full ration. There are some civilian ones that are like the military ones. If you go on MREMarketplace, Meal Kit Supply pretty much makes an identical one to the military standard. Comes in a brown bag and everything. So I'm going to look at this one. I'll show you how to read the dates, how to cook the ration. Like I said, you can open this thing up, eat it cold. But if you have the extra time, if you're just hanging out at the end of your hike on a camping trip, you can prep these and make it into a pretty decent meal. So first we'll go over what's inside of them. This one being a vegetarian option. So for any vegetarian viewers, there are a couple different vegetarian meals. And like I said, if you go on MREMarketplace, I noticed the other day they did have an option where you could select an entire case of vegetarian ones. So there's even that option for those non-meat eaters out there. So here's our main entree, the vegetable manicotti and tomato sauce. We got a applesauce with raspberry puree. The spoon, every MRE, at least the government ones, will come with this heavy-duty brown spoon. that Tabasco kit just comes with like a typical white accessory packet you might get at like a fast food restaurant. It has a napkin and a plastic white spoon. Crackers, these are always pretty good. Come in most of the MREs. And then usually you get something to go with it, either a cheese spread or a peanut butter. This one, we have a cheese spread with jalapenos. Lemon poppy seed pound cake. A lot of times you find these or they've crumbled, but this one still feels pretty intact. So those are all those pound cakes that come in these are really good. Then we have a cocoa beverage powder, so you could make this hot or cold. It's, if you have a canteen cup, you know, you can mix it up in there, or you can just drink it right from this pouch. Like I said, hot or cold, depending on how you want to do that, so we'll check that out in a minute. And then, you know, this plastic bag, you can use it to collect water. When I was in combat medic school, they taught us how to make this into an improvised butterfly dressing. If you have a chest decompression, or excuse me, a pneumothorax where you have air in the chest, you can use this for a butterfly valve. Hopefully you don't encounter something like that out camping, but there are a lot of different uses for you in this leftover plastic case. And then lastly, you got the accessory packet. So inside here, you got iced tea, matches, gum. Looks like this one maybe has cider in it instead of coffee. And then there's usually Tabasco sauce. So we'll get this open here. I believe this MRE is somewhere between 2007 and 2012. It's a leftover from when I was in the service during those years. So we'll take a look at the date code and then we'll see, and I'll show you how to read that. So we got an iced tea drink, lemon flavored. Salt. Most of these don't need salt. They're pretty good on that. Moist towelette. Some toilet paper or tissues. Always good to have extra of that out in the woods. Matches. And the Tabasco. I'm not sure if this... Tabasco, I suppose, looks okay. Sometimes these get funky looking. And that's, you know, if you want to spice up your food, that's good. These were always a classic thing in the MRE, these little bottles. But I guess now, in 2013, a year after I got out, they went to a little just foil packet, which I found to be kind of disappointing because these were always just kind of a little novelty, the little bottle. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the main entree here first, because that's you're going to want to heat that up if possible. There's supposed to be a flameless ration heater in this. I must have misplaced it, so I'm going to take the one out of this emergency ration. So this is how you heat your meal. You add water to this at the top, and then you slip your entree down inside of it, and then it'll heat up. Sometimes, after a period of time, these go bad. They won't really heat up. But, like I said, these can be eaten cold or at room temperature. So, first step... Sorry, I had an OCD moment. That was stuff scattered about was bothering me. You remove it from the sleeve. Now the box says 6258. So this learn likely was made in the 658th day of 2006. These run on a 10-year code. These cases are meant to be disposed of after 10 years. That's kind of like the maximum shelf life. So it recycles every 10 years. So knowing that I obtained this before 2016, I know it's not a 16, so it must be an 06. And it should still be perfectly good. We're going to check it out. So you get your entree out. Going to work everything down. Sorry about that, the camera cut off. So where we left off, I said, so you got this thermostabilized pouch. You want to work everything kind of towards the bottom. It has these two tear notches, so once you get it open, you can tear it at the top, first one. You can eat this right out of the pouch, or if you got a mess kit in your camping kit, you can get it out of the pouch and eat it that way. And it has a second tear notch, so as you work your way down, you can make that second tear. So you got your flameless ration heater. You open these at the top. If it wants to open. Just tear it. There it is. It's a tear. I haven't used one of these in a while. I rarely use these when I was in because we just didn't have time most of the time. But so it says do not overfill, and I think you just add water to just that line here. So it doesn't require a whole lot of water. Get it open. You get your canteen. Add just enough. Yep. Well, and now what I do, I overfilled it a little bit, but not by much. You take your pouch. Well, actually, you fold this over. You can put the pouch in there, but you can do is just slide this back inside the cardboard box. Slide your pouch, and then you're supposed to lean it. If you look on the instructions, it says lean it against a rock or something. That was always kind of a funny thing, and that should start to heat up as it leans over back there. Hopefully, if the heater's still good, we'll find out. So while that heats, let's take a look at the applesauce with raspberry puree. That's pretty good. I mean, it tastes just like any of those little packs you might get for your lunch. The flavored applesauces. And these usually hold up pretty well. And these, cardboard boxes are great to keep too if you're out camping. It's kind of a waxy cardboard, and it's good for tinder for a fire. Even had a little thing you could use it for a postcard you wanted to write home on. So that was kind of nifty. So work this way down here. And like I said, these are all intended to be eaten right out of the pouch, which you can do. You just open it up. That's why the spoon is so long, but just so you guys can get a look at it, I'm going to put it on this little camping mess tray. Okay. So let's see how that tastes. Our spoon out here. I said this one dates from 06, so it's a almost 12-year-old applesauce. And that still tastes perfectly fresh. It's actually really good. So, next thing we'll take a look at is the cheese spread with jalapenos. There's other ones that are coming in these kits, just regular cheese. There's a cheese with bacon. The cheese with bacon is probably one of the more popular ones. So, move these items off to the side here. Little hiss. So that means these things are still sealed because the vacuum seal is still good. And these crackers usually hold up really well anyway, other than the fact that sometimes they're broken. But as far as freshness goes, they usually hold up pretty well. And they're just like a lightly salted, dense kind of cracker. Not really like a saltine, because saltines are kind of more crispy and light. These are pretty like dense, but not like hard. Let's see, take a little tear. See how this cheese is looking after all those years. It's looking a little dark. Still smells like processed cheese, so we'll take a little taste on a cracker here. And yep, that's still totally fine. So that's 12-year-old jalapeno cheese spread, and that actually is pretty good for a processed cheese. See if this is getting hot. Yeah, there's some heat starting in there. Sometimes those take up to like 15 minutes, but I can feel it's starting to get warm. So that's heating up. Let's take a look at this cocoa beverage powder. I always like these out in the field. Sometimes there was a cappuccino one. That was always nice because it had caffeine in it. A little pick-me-up, and it was always good cold. So this one's just kind of like, you can heat it. It's like hot chocolate. You drink it cold. It's like a Nesquik. So let's see what the instructions say on here. So you fill the water up. Says allow water just chemically purified to stand 30 minutes before adding to this beverage. Now, if you use chemically purified water like out of your tablets, probably gonna taste a little funny. But so add 6 ounces of water or a quarter canteen cup to fill line. Close zipper. Shake well. So we're gonna add that water in here and see what happens. So we got that water up there, that fill line. We'll close it up. Now we're gonna shake it. And it helps to reconstitute this stuff with like a room temperature water or hot, because if it's cold, then it tends to sometimes not reconstitute well. So that should be pretty well mixed. We'll pour it out into a canteen cup here. Like I said, you can drink these right out of the pouch, but put it in a canteen cup. It's a little easier. See. Yeah, and see, that didn't reconstitute all that well. Because that water's a little cold. It's pretty cool down here. And I may need to add a little more water. It's kind of thick. But sometimes guys would make this intentionally thick and make what they kind of call a ranger pudding. So we'll add a little bit more water to that and see. I watched some of the other reviewers, and they use measuring cups, which I think for the purpose of the video is cool. It always makes me chuckle a little bit, because I'm like, yeah, out in the field we didn't have measuring cups. You just kind of have to guess and hope for the best on that. So let's see. It looks like chocolate milk. Take a taste. That's pretty good. Kind of has a almost like a protein shake kind of flavor to it, but it's not bad. So I might need to add a little bit more water to that. Let's take another check on this. Yeah, it's starting to get pretty warm. It needs a little more time. While we're waiting on that, we'll check out this pound cake. See how it's held up. Oh, and actually, surprisingly, this one didn't crumble to pieces like they normally do. Got the little oxygen absorber stuck to it, but still looks pretty good for a 12, 13-year-old pound cake. And it still tastes totally fresh. Lemon cake flavor, which is really nice. So that's really good. So while that's heating up still, like I said, it needs another few minutes. Let's take a look at this tea mix. It still feels maybe a little, like maybe it's not good anymore. It's kind of hard. Sometimes this stuff in the accessory packets doesn't hold up that well, like the coffee and tea sometimes gets funky. Let's see though. And yeah, if you look, it looks like moisture's gotten to it. There's chunks in there, so probably, I mean, it may still be okay, but you can see there's like chunks in there, so I don't think I'm going to drink that. But that stuff is pretty good when it's fresh. So this is probably one of the shorter shelf life items, just because these foil packets sometimes don't hold up well. Alright, so we're running out of recording time here, so this thing's gotten pretty hot, so we're going to take it out. It's not fully heated, but for the purposes of the video, I'll take it out, show you guys what it looks like, see how it's held up. that pouch torn open. Let's see. Very strong tomatoey smell. Figured to get that chocolate off there. Chocolate, tomato, I'm not sure how that goes together, but you can see it's like a rolled piece of pasta, and I'm not sure what the vegetable base is. Maybe like an eggplant, I'm guessing. So the sausage ran on there. Take a taste of this. That still tastes totally fine. It's actually a really good, like, cheesy, chunky tomato sauce. It's not like a cheap ragu type tomato sauce like you might expect in something like this. I mean, it tastes like something, other than the noodle kind of having a preserved kind of texture to it, it tastes like something you could have gotten at a decent Italian restaurant, believe it or not. So that's pretty good. Take another taste of this pound cake. So that's what I have here today on this particular video of the MREs. I got a few more of these I'm going to review that are, in that 10, 12 year old range. But if you got questions, concerns, or comments, anything you want to leave below, much appreciated. If you want to know any other information on MREs, where you can find them, and just anything like that, be happy to answer it. There'll be a link at the end of the video to some of the websites where you can get some different MREs. So thanks for watching, and everyone have a good day.